Hey guys, welcome to the Homestead. Camera's a little bit off there. Got a lot of things I want to get into today. Talking about France, talking about the garden. We'll get to some of that. First off, let's start off with this yellow book. I had made a video last week talking about how these books, these herbal extract books, were available either at my Patreon page or over at the Scribd website. If you do the Scribd website, it's completely free. All you have to do is register for the 30-day trial, download what you want, and then go into your account and cancel it. And that way you won't get charged. But they're free for downloads. And a lot of people said, Zach, we can find the red book, this one here, but we can't find the yellow book. Well, the yellow book is back up. Someone actually went ahead, paid the $75 from another website to download the PDF copy and then uploaded it to Scribd so that you can download it. So that link is in the description below if you want it over at scribd.com. Again, you sign up for the 30-day trial, you cancel, and you're good to go. Or you can go to my Patreon page and get it just for, supporting the Homestead. You sign up to be a patron. I think it's like $1 a month. And we have different levels, but if you want to support me at a higher level, I appreciate that. But you can download it over from my direct server. You can avoid the Scribd website if you want to. Just go get it at patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead. Same with this one. Also, there was an issue with the title. People were like, that's not the same book. The one you're downloading, the PDF, is an updated 3rd edition. This is the 2nd edition hard copy. I don't even know if they made a hard copy 3rd edition. So you're actually, if you do the PDF download, you're actually getting a more updated copy of the red book. Okay, France. Guys over at France, we're watching the news. I posted on Twitter this video. It was apparently the guy who was advocating for all of these foreign nationals to come into their country and to be adopted, as, citizens and to welcome these foreigners into your country, and he's getting beat by them. And the reality is this is going to happen here too. You're going to have all these bleeding hearts who thought it was a great idea to open our borders to all these people who have no sort of documentation or no sort of history of being good, productive citizens at all whatsoever. Just let them on into our country. And they're going to experience the hurt of their decision. They're going to experience the downside, the incompetence of their decisions is going to come back to bite them. The problem is it's going to affect and hurt all of us as well. But that's what it takes with some people. So in our shoes, those shoes that we're walking in, the best we can do is to prepare of this eventuality because it is going to come. You can't bring in 400,000 Chinese nationals, single fighting age men, nationals, with no families, and expect that to go well. When we go to war with Taiwan, there are many people who are speculating that these people are going to wreak havoc because that's their mission. And a good army would be preparing for a thing like that. We don't have a good army today. We have this army today. Good night. Okay, garden. Let's talk about gardening. Everyone's hurting. I was watching Doug and Stacy last night on their live stream, and they were talking about how they're basically getting to a point where they're going to have to shut the water off to the garden. They just don't have it. There's no water, and they got to keep their animals alive. I'm with you on that too. We have water going to the animals. Luckily, we have enough water still saved up. We're okay on water for storage right now. Still, we're doing okay on that end. But there is no food out there for my animals. I bought bales of hay. I am, shelling out money for some alfalfa pellets and things like that. But it's like, there's no food, there's no grass, there's no rain, not enough to keep it going. So I've got my sheep locked up right now, and we're hoping for the best. Hopefully there might be some rain coming this week, but everyone is struggling with water. If you have a garden and you don't have the water storage like I do, I'm hearing the stories out there that people are making the hard choices to let some things go. And it's just not going to do well, And that's just, there's struggles every year, whether it's pest pressures, whether it's water, whatever. There's always struggles with the garden, disease pressures, whatever. There's always issues. And so your garden is like a battlefield. It really is. Every year, I say that over and over again. Here's what I'm struggling this year with. For me, I'm doing well. I'm getting things. I harvested my first green beans just the other day. So I'm testing out the Chinese labels. This is the Chinese label here, or the Chinese lids. And so far, I did carrots not that long ago. You probably saw that in a video. The cheap Chinese lids are holding up. I was really skeptical, but I decided to test them on a few jars to see how they would work. And I am getting green beans. We had our first harvest of green beans just the other day, and my youngest son helped me out with that, and then we're going to be doing some more. They're still growing out there like crazy. Casualty report. The deer have hit my okra. Now I'm going to try to stop that. One of my sensors I forgot to turn back on, and one night, and they came in, and right in front of that sensor is where they chewed down some stuff. So I need to figure out. I need to make sure I have my sensors on every night, but they're avoiding my trip. If you watch my videos, I have trip wires. Some of them set up to blasting caps and shotgun shells, but they've figured out where those are, and they're avoiding them. I tell you one thing, you're not going to avoid that 12-gauge shotgun. It's going to pepper your butt. They got my okra. I have lost my popolo and achacha to what's those things? Armadillos. Armadillos came in and they ripped up my achacha. So this year when I make my salsa jars, I will be having to go to the store to buy cilantro. If you don't know, popolo is an excellent alternative to cilantro. Tastes very similar. Not exact, but tastes very similar. And for years we have put popolo in our salsa instead of cilantro because we can grow it ourselves. If you know, cilantro bolts. By the time your tomatoes and your onions and garlic and everything is peppers are all ready to go into salsa, your cilantro has long since bolted. You ain't gonna get any unless you froze it and saved it for that. So popolo is an alternative. It grows about 4 or 5 feet tall, and you can harvest it all summer long, and it tastes very similar to cilantro. But I've lost it this year. My achacha cucumbers also looks like it's going to be a complete loss because of these stupid armadillos. So insects this year have probably been so far held at bay. The neem cake I used this year for the first time. I bought some neem cake. I had learned about this product. I've been using neem oil for years, but neem cake was different to me. And so I started researching about this and heard about the good news and the successful reports people had been putting out about it. And it seems the best way I can describe it working is it creates kind of like a shield, an iron dome, so to speak, over your garden. And there has really been a decrease in insect activity in my garden as a whole. Now, I have had aphids on my tomatoes, but a lot less aphids than normal because I've been using this neem cake and watering with it. I soak the neem cake in water the night before, let it soak about 12 hours, and then pour that into a bucket and then add water. And then with that, I water my plants. Okay. And it seems like it really does keep the insects down. Now, my squash is coming up for this fall. Okay, I just planted squash. It's the new starts are popping up, and I saw today for the first time my first squash bugs. Okay, and just a few, but I have been watering, that area with the neem cake, with the neem oil, with the neem cake. Okay, and so we'll see how that works. I am also spraying a little bit of borax with soap and with the Dr. Bronner soap on it, and neem oil on that. So I'm at the base of those plants. So we'll see as they come up, as they grow and mature, how that works. But so far, I have noticed a definite decrease in insect activity because of the neem cake. I made the point a while back, few videos back, on eyes on target. I don't like the sprinkler systems. A lot of you left comments saying, hey, our sprinkler system works great. And a lot of you left comments saying, yeah, I get it. Sprinkler systems don't last. They break down. Unless you really take care of them over time, they're just not going to last a long time. And that's the thing. That's the point I made. Most of the sprinkler systems I've seen are looks like just a bunch of cheap Chinese garbage. And so I don't want to have, it's not worth, I get offers from these companies who want me to promote their sprinkler system to you guys, and I've turned every single one of them down because they just look cheap. So a lot of you guys left varying comments on that. And my point was I like eyes on target. So I water my plants by hand. Okay? And a lot of you guys, I just don't have time for that, Zach. I've got things to do. I'm a busy individual, don't you know? Well, here's the deal. It takes me about an hour to water my garden by hand, okay? And that's sometimes with a hose. Sometimes, I usually use a pint glass like this to water the base of my plants, each one. And so here's the deal. Let's just take tomatoes, for example. if you don't have eyes on target, if you're just one of the people who go out and switch on the sprinklers or sprinkle on the watering tape or whatever you've got out there that keeps you away from your plants, and you feel good about that, how are you going to know when an insect pressure or a pest pressure is taking hold? Listen, if you don't spot the tomato hornworm before he gets going, your tomato plant is gone. You'll come out there one morning and it'll just be gone.
And it's gone.
It's gone. So it's like you can spot a tomato hornworm long before he really gets destructive, because he will leave little poop turds all over your plant. And if you spot that, you're like, oh, I've got a worm problem here. Let me find him and get rid of him. You can do that. But if you don't get up close and personal with your plant, you're not going to see it. And if you don't get up close and personal with your tomato plants, you're going to have these little suckers all over your plant that are sucking the energy life out of your plant, which should be going into your tomatoes. If you don't get there and pull those off, and usually on a every other day basis, those suckers really grow fast. And before long, they look like, I've seen them start off really small, and then all of a sudden, like 2 days later, they're big. And they look like a normal branch, and you just let it go, and before long, it's sucking the energy out of your plant. You've got to maintain your suckers off your tomatoes. If you don't, you're just not going to get the harvest that you would rather get. Again, gardening is work. I'm sorry that some things in life, require your maintenance, and I love low maintenance things. I try to keep everything low maintenance, but a garden is just going to be hands-on. If you're going to try to find the hands-off gardening method, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. You're just lazy. That's it. You're just lazy. And I hate to, label people like that, but come on. I know we all have busy lives. I know we all have things going. We all have irons in the fire. But you got to do the work. If you want the payoff, you've got to do the work. And that goes with anything in life. There's some things in life that, you just have to cut out. But, you have to weigh and say, okay, is it worth the effort? Is it worth my sanity? Is it worth, does the ends justify the means? For the garden, you're going to have to put in the work. All right. Leave a comment below. I know some of you guys are going to roast me. That's okay. I've got broad shoulders. I can take it. Again, if you want the herbal extracts book and stuff like that, it's over at my patreon.com page. Again, I'm giving you $1,000 in this video. Each one of these books, if you go on Amazon, they're $1,000 each. And they're cost that much because, number one, they're out of print. And number two, the information inside of them is that valuable. You're at some point going to be cut off from the things that the pharmacy tells you will help you, and you better learn to make your own. Those books, and they're out of, the guy who wrote the stuff died back in the 1800s. So, it's in the common, get it. You can do it either through Scribd, with their 30-day free trial and then cancel, or you can just go to become a patron over at patreon.com/American Homestead, link in the description below. And for $1 a month, you can get access. And you can cancel that if you want to. I appreciate your support. A lot of you, you're getting your money's worth here for $2,000 worth of books in a PDF format. So, all right. We'll leave it at that. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. I'll talk to you guys later. See you next time in the Homestead. Bye. Alexander the Great. Did you know when he died, his body was placed in a coffin made of solid gold? Decades later, Ptolemy X and Cleopatra III stole the coffin and gold artifacts just so they could pay their war debts. Germany, at the time of World War II, stole all of the gold they could get their hands on, and much of it still today has not yet been accounted for. You see, all throughout history, when times get tough, people, either good or bad, seek real wealth. They turn to gold and silver. The central banks and Wall Street cheerleaders would have you believe that gold and silver are just shiny rocks with no real value. But did you know that central banks around the world have for the last year been buying record amounts of gold and silver for stockpiling? Stockpiling for what? What do they know that they're not telling us? Genesis Gold Group is a proud supporter of an American homestead. They help people get out of locked-in 401ks and IRAs into something that's real, physical gold and silver. If you're going to be locked into something, it might be a good idea to talk to Genesis Gold Group about being locked into something physically vaulted instead of just a piece of paper that at the end of the day is just that, a piece of paper. It's a clear surety that our economy is headed for turbulent waters. The nation is currently over $31 trillion in debt, and Congress keeps spending money and the Fed keeps printing it. That does not bode well for anyone keeping and saving money in savings accounts or paper-denominated assets. Call Genesis Gold Group today, this instant, or visit them online at genesisgoldgroup.com. They can put together a strategy that's right for you. And be sure to say that you heard about them from an American Homestead.